Hello, my friends. How have you all been? So, I've come to you with a fresh new episode, episode 61. And once again, this is a dual guest episode. We've been doing guest episode for quite a while now. I think the last two episodes were also guest episode. And even in this one, we have someone from inside Ateps. Her name is Anu Dogra, and she happens to be a self-improvement coach. And she uses all kinds of modalities from healing to tarot to astrology to help her clients. And she's here for a special reason today. And I mean, you will get to know what the reason is. But before that, let's welcome Anu. Anu, welcome to the podcast, You Are Money.
Hi, Gaurav. Thank you for inviting me. From following you are money to now being part of it, it's been a journey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk about the journey shortly. So, Anu, one of the most fascinating things that I got to know when you came into Ateps, and I remember that you came in December, was that you already were in such a high paid position, right? So you were already working as a head of marketing, and you were already making 4 to 5 lakhs in a month, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little about that life, because so many people, the reason I'm asking you about to talk about that life is so many people who come from corporate structures and organizations and jobs and that profession, and they do make good amount of money, but when they enter the world of coaching, for whatever reason they have come, there is always an expectation that this is my first year in coaching and I should be making that amount of money that I made in my 5th year, 6th year, 7th year, 8th year that I was in my corporate. And then it creates a kind of dissonance inside their head that, why is this happening? Why am I not making money? So we have to first of all look at the reason why I made the switch, right? So let's look at the reason, and let's look at that life, how that life was, the previous life where you had a job and a high paying one.
Yeah. So, yes, it was a very safe and comfortable job from money point of view. There was an assurity. There was so much freedom to spend as much as I want because every month that amount was coming in. No thoughts about where I'm going to spend, how much, nothing. So I was kind of in a financial abundance. But other than that, if I talk about my daily life, daily checking in into the office, getting ready for it, finding an Uber, reaching, or everything else was a stress point for me. It was a place where I felt I was dragging myself into. Though I thought I could find hooks, to keep me hooked there. First is money. Second is the status. Third is where people look up to you and, the credibility you have among your family members, among society. You have a status to that.
Yeah.
And of course, love for marketing, because that is something I genuinely loved and still love.
Yeah.
But other than that, the things which involved, stakeholder management, talking to people about so many things, that was, I think, somewhere, where I was pushing myself. It was beyond my bandwidth. It was a place which I did not enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of at the point of exhaustion that I cannot do it anymore through pushing or through pulling myself for the love of money. So it was actually beyond money, the things which told me that I cannot continue this longer.
Yeah. So that's something that I also want to point out for people, because, one of the things is you don't get to live a life that you want to live. Like, it's not a desired life, and your nervous system is stretched beyond limits. So, Anu, please tell us how, being in that life, and then you actually ended up finding the world of coaching. How was that arc set in motion of you being there and arriving at a decision that I no longer want to do this? The kind of challenges you faced when you said that, I mean, you thought that you wouldn't do this anymore, and then finding the world of coaching. How did that happen?
So from being in the office and yearning to see the sunrise, to see the sunset, trying to find a desk which is close to the window, all this would occupy my mind more than the work, frankly speaking. So from there, when COVID came and there was work from home, and from my workstation at home, I could see the garden outside, and I would be sitting at 7 p.m. in a global call and thinking, why am I here? I want to be out there. I want that freedom. So, and then health issues also started cropping up. The triggers, when we don't listen to our heart, then things, life makes sure that you listen to what you're
Yeah.
supposed to listen. So then I eventually dropped the idea. I said, okay, after 10 years, I deserve a break and let me take this pause. I learned about the sacred pause later, but that was the moment of me taking a pause. Okay, let me live first, take care of my health first,
Yeah.
and see what I can do. So for a year, I was in that stage where I was working on myself, honing my skills. And I was always in this question of not from where I can make money, because that was so easy. Take up a job in a metro and go there, and I can today start minting money. But the question was, what skills can I offer to the world, which is so authentic to me that it wouldn't need even an ounce of push. I will be paid for just who I am. I would be loved for just who I am. And then I think I came across Ateps. So 2, 3 things happened parallelly. I logged into astrology course. I made the daring decision to invest into Ateps from my savings, which I was already diving into, using my savings from last 1.5, 2 years without salary. And the decision to start gratitude program, because that was the first feeling that felt, okay, this is what I'm anyways doing daily. Let me open it to public. So in December, I invested like about 2.2 lakhs, I think, in Ateps that time. And
2.5
made
lakhs.
2.2K. Yeah, 2.5 lakhs and made 2.2K, like
Right.
2,200 from the first gratitude program that I started. So that was my December balance sheet, if you can say.
We will come to that. I just want to also have a conversation with you where my strategy and my idea around making money is it gets to be simple and it gets to be easy. And I have no sort of psychophancy around the fact that it should only come through some kind of, hard work, right? So I really love people who choose to live a life that can bring them ease and simplicity and pleasantness and comfort against a life where, you are sort of propelled and pushed to do a lot of hard work, that very masculine, patriarchal idea of, go hard or go home, that sort of thing, no pain, no gain, right? So I also want to tell, I want you to tell the world, maybe there are a lot of people who are struggling at this moment, that when you come from a space of hustle, which you of course were, like working so many hours and sitting at 7 p.m. for a global call and wondering if you could be out, if you could have the sunlight, the forest, the trees, and then sinking into a life where things are on your own terms, which means you get to make it easy. How does one begin to cope with an overcharged nervous system to now deciding what to do and taking it slow? How do you deal with the withdrawals that actually come, because it was such a high sort of adrenaline rushy life for you, to come into a life which is of course comparatively way slower, right? How did you manage that?
So initially it was more of gently getting into the passive state. Like I started loving going out for walks, being around the lake. And actually for many months, I just did nothing. I had a small baby with me, so of course that occupied my time. But other than that, I enjoyed being in that feminine state of just receiving, me not worrying about finances, let someone else take care about it, me just being at home, doing things with nature, with kid, taking care of my health. So these were the things which occupied my time. And I think for a long time, I was in this state of just receiving, refilling up myself. Yes, after a while, after 8, 9 months, came a time where I thought, okay, what am I going to do? Again, that need to do something, show up in the world. Once the baby turned around a year and a half old, then I thought, okay, now what? So then this question of what skills can I offer to the world? Because I wanted to interact with the world. I didn't want to live in this state of complete receiving and away from everyone, no interaction kind of space. So that's when the question started coming up, what can I do for the world? When I had some bandwidth to do that. So from high adrenaline to very passive, very, very passive state of just receiving, just being, just existing, nothing else. I was just Anu Dogra, sitting at home and doing everything that I love. And then now gradually I started, coming up, resurfacing into the world. Connecting with people.
Because you talked about, investing in Ateps for 2.5 lakh, in December and then making 2.2K, and then gradually you went up, and we will talk about that. But I want to touch on this, Anu, that this is also true for so many people. As I said in the very beginning of the episode, that people, again, they are making a certain amount of money in a corporate job, and then they plunge into the world of coaching, and they expect that they would make that amount of money right in the first year or the first month, right? Of course, that is simply because there is a dissonance that comes in, like, I made so much amount of money, and here, is it going to work out? Will I get clients? Will I make the money that I was already making? What am I doing with my career? Did you face similar challenges like that, like in your mind, and did your brain give you these kind of sentences? And if so, how did you deal with them?
So the thought with which I took a plunge was, I knew how much savings I had. We are living in countryside. So I just calculated that worst case, I can survive on my savings for 2 years.
Yeah.
And if I still scrimp maybe 3 to 4 years, I can do that. So that plan I had. And I was so sure of myself that, okay, within 1.5 year, 2 years, definitely I'll be able to come up with something that will give me the financial. So surprisingly, and that's what surprised everyone, even my friends, that how can you be so financially rich in your mindset? You're not wondering about, what will I do? Where will the money come? For kids, where will the money come? After 40 years, where will the money? Nothing like that. I just have confidence on myself that I am brilliant enough to figure out something in 1.5, 2 years. So let me give this pause to myself, and kuch na kuch I will figure out. How can I not figure out? But I
also want to ask you, Anu, like, what is your opinion on the fact that some human beings have that sort of switch inside them, that they know that I will figure it out, and some of them don't? Like, why does that happen according to you? Like, you had it even without the fact that you did not have an evidence of it in your outside world, and you simply relied on the belief that I'll just make the money. Somehow I'm going to make the money. And because you relied on that belief, evidence kept showing up in your reality, which is what we also learn in Ateps, that you have to believe in it first, and then the evidence is going to show up. Why do you think some people have it and some people don't have it?
I think that abundance mindset came from the fact that I've always been so grateful in my life for the things around me. Like, I was so thankful for that one walk around the lake. And I know that it is precious, it's priceless. No money in the world could have bought that. Impromptu having a massage, like calling a massage lady and choosing it at maybe 1 p.m. That okay, 3 p.m. come. All this was, it felt like riches to me. Without money, these were the riches. In the morning, I can easily have breakfast, and at 11 a.m. start something of my own. I was focused on health, for example. So anytime I would focus on doing my walks, the liberty to do that, because I've come from a place where you have to, come into the office at 9 a.m. and, put that thumbprint. Then you have calls and calls. Your time is all ruled by everyone else. So I felt already rich by this fact that whatever I'm getting, even on countryside, living in an old house, is more than enough. I did not have liabilities. That also is one point. I didn't have any loan, like, the recurring payment which I had to do every month. So I think that also added to it. That I chose to leave liability free instead of getting into that mad rush of I should own a house and take a loan, and then, buying myself into 10, 15 years of doing that. Whatever I do with my own cash. And I love the freedom of doing that. Even for coaching, I pay like in one go.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is such a pressure.
You just paid in full, despite the fact that, at that time you didn't have a job. You were experimenting with your coaching career, and then you had savings. I remember having the conversation even on phone, and you just paid in full. And that actually goes to show what you would be creating later in your business. That is a huge marker, that first step. And this is also something I want to highlight, that you really could have chosen to invest in so many other things, like a house, right? Or moving into another city to get another job that could have paid you more, but maybe not in this particular corporate setup. Like, a lot of people would do that. But then you chose a life where you deliberately wanted to sort of make sure that this is going to be easy, and it gets to be simple. And I get to have all the pleasantries, like a massage, like a walk by the lake, right? And I'm going to make time for myself. And people get so caught up in the word busy, in the sense that somehow busyness almost feels like a currency. And it feels as if the busier I am, the better I am, the more productive I am, and perhaps the more money I'm making, and maybe I have more status. And I think I heard this thing in one of the podcasts by one of my coaches, and it blew my mind how, she is a multi-million-dollar owner, and she makes sure that she goes on a walk, on a hike. And I started doing this in the winters, last winter, wherein, I remember talking to you over a consultation call while taking a walk in the park. And I do that here in Delhi. And I make sure that I do go out for that walk. So I want to ask you that when people view us as, why are you not working? Why are you not like making this amount of money? Or, what's wrong with you? You are such a hardworking person. Like, why are you just laying back? Did you have to face those kind of questions at all from anyone?
From my mom, I think that's because friends definitely admired the courage I had, because somewhere everyone wants to do that. So, but still, in parallel, they're busy buying flats here and there with loans.
Yeah.
But they admired, like, how can you do this and how can you just leave?
Yeah.
So they're as richer, or maybe they have much more bank balance. Like, but for my mom, it was, did you study all this? I'm Ahmedabad an MBA for this. Like,
I know, same.
Is this what you wanted to be, the housewife like me? Have financial stability is very important for a woman to have her own finances. It is, I think, coming from her own trauma and the experience she had had. So I think that was one question that I had to evade and answer. Even when I had nothing, like, I'm doing something. Yes, I have projects. Yes, I'm doing something. So I think that's the only place from where the question came. And yes, I think relatives have this question in their mind, but they never ask. They still wonder that you have left such a high-paying job and you could have been doing so much more, but no one asks on face. Just my mom was the one.
Because there is also this mindset, no, that it is only through action that you will be able to achieve what you are setting out to achieve. Like in my case, what happens is the more I scale my business, the more I realize that there is less to do, and I can actually achieve with doing less. And then the conflict happens in the brain that, but you are supposed to do more, because that's what you have been conditioned as a child, that you can only achieve and have more by doing more, right? But the nature of business is such that you actually get to simplify it more and more, cut out things more and more, and make it like easier and easier for yourself. And I think anyone who does that, including you, Anu, is an exception to the world, is an exception to society. And it's very difficult to explain it to the world unless you come in front of them as an example who has created the resources, the abundance, the wealth, the achievement by being in the state of ease. And I think you are one of the profound examples of that. So
I would also like to add one thing, that this fake business, there's such a desire to create that. I didn't want to create a fake business. So like today, I am busy. I have so much, pending client engagements pending. But I wake up at 3:21, 3:40, and I just want to go and sit and make charts and do astrology, start reading their charts. It doesn't make me sleep. In the morning now, even before work, I want to start working. And that's the kind of, I'm amazed at this passion.
Joy,
I love it. And today only my friend pinged me and she said, congratulations, and she said, your passion is so visible. And how did you know? She's sitting in US, don't even talk. She said, it's so visible from your posts, your stories, that you're loving it. So it's visible. When it's there, it's visible, and fake business doesn't lead you anywhere.
So true. So true. And that brings us to being inside Ateps. So I want you to tell the world what changed by being inside Ateps. I know you found it through podcast or something, right?
Yes, I think I saw it on someone's story, and then the podcast, and then then I connected.
And so we want to know, how did you decide to first of all get inside, and what changed as a result of all of these months being inside Ateps now?
So I think the first thing was, I loved your energy. And I think no one around us talks about money the way you do, or they don't even talk. I still feel hesitant in sharing the number that I'm earning. So So I love the new way of thinking about money. Yes, I was financially I had this abundance mindset, but to convert it into money as an energy and always see my bank account at a certain level, I was used to
Hmm.
that. So when I saw my savings dwindling or going down and down, I definitely wanted to, I never had shame in earning money.
Yeah.
So I wanted to again bring it back up, but approach it with a new mindset. Otherwise, the current mindset said take a job and you will get it. Like 5
Yeah.
lakhs a month, you start earning right now. But what if I want to do in a new way? So
Yeah.
that's what attracted me towards Ateps. And of course, the community. Again, it's not just by following one person, it's by
Hmm.
interacting with like-minded people that
Yeah.
the energy and passion stays up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I
I
found
think
it
the
like.
group matters a lot because we all are like vibrating at that same level of different kinds of beliefs, but all beliefs coming together and going towards the fact that it's possible to make money with ease, with lightness, you know. Uh, the thing that I wanted to ask you was when you said that you were making less amount of money in the beginning and then slowly as you are scaling, as you are growing, this entrepreneur Anu is definitely different from the head of marketing Anu, because the entrepreneur Anu makes decision not only in her own business but also in her own life, right? When to have the cup of tea, when to wake up, when to go for a massage, when to go for a nap, right? So I want to bring this two together where what do you have to tell about entrepreneur women who choose this life and they begin with making money, which may feel in the beginning like a smaller amount of money, but then as they keep choosing more and more and deciding more and more, it changes for them. So what might you have as a message, as a suggestion, as an advice to all the women choosing entrepreneurship at a stage in their life where a major portion of their life was like given away or left out, and they just quit that previous life and entered a completely new life?
So I would like to say that first be very clear on the why. That why you took that decision. Because whenever I had the thought of, momentary thought of joining back, or a very lucrative offer comes up, consultant is saying this is what you get and all those things, right? So earlier I used to use these things to numb my brain down, accept something which I knew I wouldn't like in long run. So this time I would always remind myself, okay, I know you can go back, but this is what you're getting into. Are you okay with that? So remember your why you quit it. Second is life is very big. 1-2 years is nothing. It's like a blip. So always remember that 1-2 years will fly by, but what you will gain in that while you are choosing yourself every day in, day out, the kind of mother you will become, the kind of wife, or the kind of new person in the society you will become, that is much more valuable than those 1-2 years of experiment that you're putting in. I know anytime I can go back to the job, but these 2 years have changed me and they were worth taking the risk. Why not now? I'm 35, 36. This is the right time to take the risk. Do I want to wait till 50, 60 to take the risk? No, I think this is the right time. 30s is the right time to take the risk.
Absolutely.
If it feels like this.
So, Anu, now that you are in this whole journey, and I mean, more than 6 months into Ateps, I want to know what has been your number one biggest breakthrough so far, and not only in terms of money, but personal breakthrough as well, business breakthrough maybe. And the other thing that I want to know is what kind of glass ceilings have you broken in terms of thinking that this is the amount of money that I would make, but then you broke that glass ceiling,
Yeah. So I think the first thing I've learned from Ateps is to be compassionate. First for myself, be compassionate, forgive myself more and more, and then I'm able to hold the same for the client as well. So when I'm looking at their higher version, in parallel, I learn how to look at my higher version. And
you recently wrote about it, right? That
yes.
you were willing to believe in the client's capacity to pay even when they may not be in that state. And then because you kept on believing, it happened, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Otherwise, we are trained to look at everything as money laundering. Everyone you see a person and you see money. That's the trap in which many coaches and many entrepreneurs can fall into. That they forget the objective and they start looking at everyone as client number one, this much money, client number two, this much money, and run by the balance sheet.
Yeah.
So that is where I think Ateps is a constant reminder to me that focus on the higher self. That's where the real coaching comes in, and not a coaching just for the sake of money. Second, I think is how to process my thoughts, because no one teaches you again how to structure your thoughts, how thoughts matter. Meditation is becoming thoughtless, but what if I can use my existing thoughts to my benefit? Because if mind is a machine I own, then why not use it to my benefit? No one teaches us that. I think I've never been taught about it anywhere. So I love that model that we learned here, and how to, mold my thoughts as per the result that I want.
Yeah, how to create intentional thinking process. Yeah.
Yes. And what I've learned in Ateps is that any circumstance is just a circumstance. It is applicable so much in my real life as well. But now I can differentiate it. It's not a big deal. It's just a fact. Just a fact. If anything else goes wrong in the house, it's just a fact. It's up to me how to deal with it. So all these learnings are very handy, and I've become okay with accepting myself as a failure. Because I always had this fear of failure. So I would try to over perfect things or not take risks. But I think here I learned that what if it's okay to fail? It's okay. It doesn't matter to me as a human being. So
I'll just learn and move on.
That the unlearning is happening. A lot of unlearning is happening, and new things are learning. So that's what I think Ateps has provided to me. Like I said, when I entered coaching, I did not have a money target as such in my mind, though it would be lovely to cross, what I was earning before. But I started with 2 point. I had a very humbling start, like 2 people, paying 1100, 2.2K. I was like, yes. Even in that, I felt so happy because I was being paid for who I am.
Exactly.
That was a big thing for me. And gradually,
I think that's the biggest kind of joy, when especially when you come from because I came from being a medical doctor, and then I became an entrepreneur, and then initially when I started making money, that small amount of money made so much of difference, and it brought so much of joy, because it's a very different thing to be an entrepreneur where you are getting paid for your brain, and you are the one running that business. You are the one who is signing up that client. You are not just getting paid from an organization. It's a very different feeling altogether.
Yeah. And after that, I think for 2-3 months, I was not connected actively with Ateps. So there was hardly any money also flowing, because, I was still in that chaotic form within. Like, what am I supposed to do? Because I have so many talents. So I think we connected also. That's the confusion I'm having, how to package it. And then when I again connected with Ateps community, started attending the calls, I think I made around 28,000 in a month. Then we had this 2 lakh in 2 weeks challenge.
Yeah, we had a challenge, 2 lakhs in 2 weeks. Yeah.
So I made then 28,000 in 2 weeks. Then the next month, I think I made in June 28,000 in 1 day. I think this figure is consistent with me. And I made around 1 lakh in 15 days. And then again, because it was too high activity for me, because when the clients start coming, they just come towards me. So I had to take a pause and again go into that sacred pause for a month. And recently, I just made about 1 lakh in 2 to 3 days. So
amazing.
It's like every month I'm just
scaling
up. Unknowingly just scaling up. And that's a beautiful feeling to have. And now when I compare it with job, I would just calculate it. Okay, I'm being paid 15,000 a day to slog, to compromise on my freedom, to compromise on everything and build my life around it. But here now it feels wonderful.
Because at the end of the day, it is about freedom. I mean, I was just making a reel, and I was saying that when people ask me, are you in it for the money? And I would say, yeah, I'm in it for the money, because if I'm in it for the money, then I can actually inspire people to desire the money, and they can be in it for the money. That doesn't mean that you will have to toil, you have to struggle, you have to do quote unquote hard work. And basically hard work is a thought, which is something that you don't want to do, but you are compelled to do. That's hard work. Like you getting up at 3:20 in the morning and preparing astrology charts for people doesn't feel hard work, even though for someone, oh my God, I cannot wake up at 3 in the night. I haven't seen 3 in the night. But when the joy is present, it is no longer hard work. And then you get paid for that, right? So recently we also published this new course inside Ateps called Loving the Selling Game. And a lot of people think that, I am teaching there a lot of funnels and methods and marketing there. And all I'm teaching is how selling is actually an inside game. And it is, at the end of the day, the energy because of which one sells, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I also want to know your perspective. I know now the clients are flowing in, and like you get to make lakhs in 2-3 days. Nothing truly has changed except for the fact that something has changed inside. How do you logicalize this for normal people out there, watching this interview, that this is an inside game? I have done it. How do you show that? How do you logicalize that?
I think I'm also slowly getting proofs of that, because yesterday only the client said that she had actually gone to another, counterpart of mine. Same knowledge the other person also has, but she didn't feel the vibe with her, and she came to me. So that was such a beautiful thing, that people are getting attracted not just for this astrology knowledge that I'm giving to them, but it's also for the vibe. They're looking for a vibe match. They're
Because of
looking for
you.
energy.
Because of
Yes.
you. Yeah.
So what bigger proof can it be that it's the energy which is fooling people, and
Yeah.
not anything that I'm putting out in terms of stories or logistics, or this is what you'll get, this PDF, that PDF, nothing. They're just coming for the energy.
Yeah.
I'm also becoming slowly okay. This is what I'm learning in Ateps as well. That selling is fine, putting myself out is fine. 6 months back, it was such a major hurdle. I wouldn't even put it on my personal profile. I wouldn't even talk to my neighbor next door that this is what I do. And now
Yeah.
half of the conversation is about that. When someone comes to visit me, of course they're curious what I'm doing, and I tell the prices also. 10,000 for an hour, and this and that. I don't care if it's shocking for them. This is my reality, and I love doing it, and I won't love putting it out for people. Uh, that's it, because I love, when you're in love, you love talking about that person. That's so true.
Exactly. It's like having a child, or meeting a new girlfriend or a boyfriend about whom you want to talk about in the whole world. So this brings me to this, almost like last question is, if a new coach comes to you, Anu, who says, how do I find clients? Where do I find them? How do you sign up people, and how do you make offers? What will be your simplest suggestion? Because these are questions I get bombarded with every single day,
Hmm. I think the first thing I would try to look at is, have they actually recovered from where they're trying to enter the coaching game? Because if they have not worked on themselves, how is their energy? Or are they just coming from 1 lakh to another lakh? Because again, if you're just in the situation of how do I get clients, how do I get money, then you are just filling that same void through a different way. So I would rather want them to take some pause, reflect back, lean into themselves, figure out what they really want, why they want it, what are the other things that they love doing. I would talk about everything else apart from coaching, because are you actually living a life which you enjoy? And you can do that right now, even without clients, even without money. And from that energy, that because that's what people will see in your face, even if you don't write anything. And that will attract them more than just, and second is definitely start showing up as a true, authentic self. Whoever you
I
are,
think that's the part people like have a lot of confusion, because they get very confused about, how do I make the offer? What do I actually write? What do I say? And I say, you just talk like a human being and tell them you can help them, right? And they are unable to accept the simplicity of that comment, But
I think I write 100 stories a day, like so many stories, because I love talking, but I rarely make posts. I think in 2 weeks I make one post, or my last post must be like 4 weeks old. My profile is dead in that way if someone comes and looks at it, but stories, every hour I'm talking about whatever comes in my mind, I'm talking, sharing. Sometimes it's definitely about my what offer I can make, but it's also about the way I see the world, and that's what people love, my point of view, which I've come to recognize. And my selling is just one of the 10 things that I do. I love talking to them, and that's how they sense the energy as well. If I every day just put a selling
that
post,
automatically brings in people, because you are constantly expressing, you are just opening the faucet and letting it out,
Yes. So they get to know who Anu Dogra is, because ultimately in the client session, that is who they're going to meet. So all those things help them understand who I am, and they can check if it matches their vibe, and then they come to me, irrespective of what's the price. what's the offering, they just come because
Yeah.
they want to take that energy. When I started group coaching, one girl, she was like, I couldn't afford, but I'm so happy that I will get a continuous connect with you.
Yeah.
That, I don't have the money for one-on-one, but group coaching, thank you for opening it up. Like, she was the first one to sign up because she had taken one personal session and she said, I wanted to be in your energy like forever. So thank
Yeah.
you for opening this up. So I think it's the energy again, which people seek, not the knowledge per se.
Absolutely. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. And I think all the audience has a proof in front of them in the form of Anu here. I think the last question I had for you, Anu, is for people have this notion that if they haven't started coaching or they are new coaches or they have just begun the journey, they should not be investing on a coaching program that teaches them the business because they are hell-bent on learning the skills, right? And I tell them that you already have the skills and you can concurrently learn the skills if you want to. But first, you have to learn the business part of it, which is mostly about what kind of thoughts and feelings you can have, right? To do the business that you want to do, right? What would be your suggestion to all the new coaches who haven't started their journey, coaches who are contemplating that they will start their journey? Why should they invest on their brain in a program like Ateps where they get to learn the business part of it?
So perfect analogy, I think, is it's like when you learn the business coaching, when you work on yourself, it's like expanding the vessel. Skills are like water. You can fill it. But right now, if your vessel is narrow,
Yeah.
whatever skill you're adding is going to overflow. So what are you doing to expand your vessel, to make the vessel bigger? And then, yes, you can learn new skills. Second is, if we feel that as authentic we are, it is enough. So first, I need to know how to present that to the world instead of feeling insufficient and then adding more skills, but not knowing how to show them. So when I had that astrology consultation for myself, I got the validation that whatever innate intuitive psychological abilities I have are more than enough. I don't need to go for a psychology degree for that.
Yeah.
Second step for me was, okay, how do I showcase it to the world? And that's where Ateps came in. So expand your vessel and you can keep on filling the water forever in your life. But without expanding, you won't be able to retain it.
Yeah, I think that's where the nervous system work and the capacity also sort of comes in. This is, I mean, the most amazing analogy and the simplest one could like ever give and understand. So, Anu, how do people find you? What are your current offers that you are giving? And how can people like reach out to you?
Okay, so my page is known as Arise in Now, like
ARISEINNOW.
Yes, Arise in Now. I've started giving out astrology, Western astrology consultations. So that is a 60-minute consultation where we, even you will have the recording and we can figure out on whose specific issue overall as well. I do tarot. So tarot, not just the reading, because I think reading just leaves people in halfway. Okay, what do they make out of it? So it is always a tarot reading plus healing, where you again get to interact with me for an hour or so and do the work. And if you are just at the basic level, don't want to do anything major with your life, still I would recommend go for a gratitude program, which is like the lowest price point thing, and learn how to use gratitude in your life to see the magics or miracles which are already exist in your life. I think that everyone should be doing is to do that.
Yeah.
And there is also a karmic guide which is available where you can, again, if you're not going for full-fledged astrology, if you can just know what skills you have brought from your past life and what new assignment you have to learn in this life. It will make accepting those challenges easier. And once you accept, then you can move forward and learn new things. I think the acceptance is something which the karmic guide brings.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of this spiritual, metaphysical, combined with coaching, so people who are looking for coaching from a very holistic, metaphysical, spiritual perspective, please reach out to Anu. I will also be including her page handle in the show notes, right? So thank you, Anu. Thank you for coming to this episode and, showing up and again, opening yourself up to the world, showing your whole journey and being, vulnerable to this level where you could just talk about it so candidly, right? Thank you once again.
Thank you, Gaurav, for having me. Loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I just wanted to let the audience also know that this is the month of August. Today, I mean, we are recording on 1st of August and it's going out tomorrow, Wednesday, as it goes out. On 1st of September, the price of Ateps goes up to 2.75 lakh for the next 2 months. And then it goes up in December, I think, November. Yeah, sorry. Then it goes up in November to 2.9 and then in Jan next year to 3.3. So you would want to sign up for Ateps for a lifetime access, lifetime live coaching calls forever at 2.5 lakhs, which is the present payment, which is the present price. Okay. So before 31st August, make sure that you get inside Ateps, right? So once again, thank you all for watching this episode. And of course, people who are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.